Unarmed African-American man who died after being handcuffed and then pinned to the ground by Minneapolis police.
I don't think slavery ended in 1865. I think it evolved.
These are real people. These are real fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters and sons. We don't want another hashtag. We don't want another video. We are tired of our people dying. You're not going to do this to us anymore.
While he was jogging through this Brunswick, Georgia neighborhood in February.
I was getting pulled over by the police.
What crime have I committed, sir?
This is something that's central to our history. We have always criminalized and demonized Black people.
We're haunted by this legacy of racial inequality, by slavery and lynching and segregation.
None of this is normal or acceptable. There is a better way.
Don't just let us be the only ones fighting for our lives, because we're all human.
Your privilege can be used as a voice when our voices are not being heard.
Teach them to see the humanity in all people. Help them know that they can act now. They don't have to wait to be grown-ups to speak out against racism.
Equal Justice Initiative, Center for Policing Equity, NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
It's not the economy. Use
the power of your dollar.
This work matters. Our mental health matters.
When we say Black Lives Matter, we mean all Black Lives Matter.
We're in this fight together. It's all intersectional.
We are uprising for Black life!
Hello, everyone. My name is Sherice Torres. I am Global Director of Inclusion at Google, and I am thrilled to be here presenting to you at the 3% Conference. While my current title is Global Director of Inclusion, I spent 20 of my 25-year career as a marketer and brand manager. So I am thrilled to be here presenting on a topic very important to me in both my inclusion and marketing roles. The film that you just saw was created by the extremely talented team of marketers at Google Brand Studio. This was one segment of our systemic approach to addressing racial equity. Like many companies and organizations around the world, over the past several weeks and months, Google has really dug deep to determine what role we should play in the growing movement for racial equity, not just in the United States, but around the world. A few weeks ago, we launched a website, google.com/racial equity, that featured this film, as well as our commitments to driving systemic change, both internally to Google and externally. Our internal commitments were created to drive sustainable equity for our Black employees, while our external commitments focused on using our products to drive change and impact in the moments that truly matter for Black users. We chose to do the film that you just saw in the style of our Year in Search and Moments in Search films. As a company, we are by no means experts in social justice or racial equity. So rather than positioning ourselves as such, we went to an area where we are experts, where we do have credibility, and that is Google search trends. Rather than speaking up and giving a Google narrative on why this moment was important, why the search for racial equity is a critically important topic in this moment and moving forward, we turn to our users around the world and we let the data speak for itself. Just like we do in all of our year in search and moments in search work, we use Google search trend data to highlight cultural movements, cultural moments, the topics that are top of mind for users in the United States and around the world. So rather than simply opining that people were interested in how to fight racism or how to teach their children about racism or how to be an ally, we were able to highlight that search trends around these topics and so many more related to racial equity are trending at all-time high. We don't have to speak to this moment. Our users are speaking, and their voices are coming through loud and clear. In addition to releasing this film at the website google.com/racial equity, we also have a deep dive into the methodology behind the film and additional search trend data that users can dig into to understand other topics related to racial equity that are peaking in the United States and around the world. After launching this website, we went deeper and we wanted to, in the words of Bozoma St. John, share the mic by leveraging Google's platform to open up for anti-racism, social, and human rights experts around the world to tell their stories in this moment on the Google platform. We recently launched a new Search for Racial Equity series on the Talks at Google platform. You can find our recordings on YouTube, and we premiere new episodes most Friday evenings at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. Through a combination of interviews with internal experts like Dr. Kamal Bob, our diversity strategist and researcher, as well as external experts like Professor Ibram X. Kendi, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist from the New York Times, Nicole Hannah-Jones, the diversity reporter from the BBC, Nina Gaswani, and so many more. We are sharing the mic by opening Google's platform to experts in this space to drive forward the growing movement for racial equity. As marketers, we know that words matter, creative matters, data matters. The opportunity to highlight search data from around the world to put a fine point on the growing movement for racial equity was critical in our approach to shining a light on these issues to our users around the world. As marketers and as members of organizations both large and small, we also know the importance of leveraging our platform to amplify expert voices in this space. We are not all experts on all things. And when it comes to racial equity and social justice, it is critically important to amplify the expert voices in this space at this time. That's what Google has chosen to do by launching the dedicated Search for Racial Equity series on our Talks at Google platform. As you go through your day, I'd like to challenge you to say, how are we using our platform to amplify expert voices in the search for racial equity? What steps are we making beyond creative, beyond social media, beyond statements of solidarity and acknowledgement of the pain of systemic racism for Black communities in the United States and around the world? What commitments are we making to adjust both our internal culture and our externally facing products, programs, and partnerships to be a part of the movement for racial equity? As marketers, we know the power of words. We know the power of data. We know the power of our platforms. I'd like to challenge each of you to use your words, use data, use your brilliant creative minds to drive forward the movement for racial equity now and for future generations. If you'd like to learn more about Google's commitments in this space or to see the film or search trend data that I just referred to, feel free to visit us at google.com/racial equity. Thank you for your time.